everybody, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to review Loki Episode 4. Now, I just want to start off by saying that I saw a lot of people, of course, because this episode drops, so it was one of those funny things. So, first of all, this episode is by far the best episode in the series. Probably one of the best episodes of Marvel television, period. You know, in terms of its quality, in the terms of everything that was happening, and I will get into that in a second. But I think it worked. I think that one of the things that helps this episode is episode 3. I saw a lot of people banging on episode 3. Not like, a lot of people banging on episode 3. You got John Camp, you got other people, a lot of people online banging on episode 3. Just banging on it, banging on it, banging on it. And like I said, I dug the hell out of episode 3 because I knew it was going to be important. They were taking the time. See, this is why episode 3, and I said this from the jump. I said this in my video. I was like, episode 3 is going to reinforce everything in 4 and 5. Because Tom Hiddleston was talking about his favorite 2 episodes are 4 and 5. Episode 3 reinforces everything in that. Because first of all, episode 3 is where you get to not only know Sylvie more, but it's the episode where they build the relationship between Loki and Sylvie. That's something you can't just do in like a 20-minute little thing on the side, because you have to really be able to convince people that these two characters can potentially not only maybe fall in love, we don't know yet, we don't know what that relationship is, but at least care deeply for one another to the point where it can cause, where it can cause a fucking rift in reality, to the point where it could cause, a variant timeline. So they had to spend time in 3 using 3 as an episode to set that relationship, because now we don't have to do that. We don't have to slowly, through the next episodes be like, okay, they're slowly becoming in a relationship, and by the end of the show, then it's that. No. We got that done in episode 3. Episode 3 did the legwork for these two characters to be connected, to be into each other, to be engaged with one another. So that way, we can just shoot out of a rocket. That's how the whole thing works. Like, the thing about it is the MCU does stuff like this all the time, but it's usually just movies where they use the episode to set things up, so that way, though, it's smooth sailing. They did the same. That's why they did the movies beforehand, so they don't have to explain all the characters and where they come from. So, like, if you watch the other movies, we don't gotta explain that shit to you. And they use episode 3, like I said, the same way to just be like, this is the relationship. Like, this is where they started off at. Because where Loki and Sylvie started, there's just no way they would have been close. You would imagine they would have been close enough to care about each other that deeply. You just couldn't imagine that they would give a shit about each other in any type of way. But not only do we know more about Sylvie, not only do we know more about her abilities, not only did it set up their relationship to a deep point to where we don't have to fucking talk about it. We don't have to keep setting it up. We already know what their relationship and how close they are with one another. Like I said, I just wanted to start off by saying I know a lot of people are banging on episode 3, but I think episode 3 gave episode 4 the length to just go head on, because they didn't have to deal with that shit. If episode 3 doesn't happen, they basically have to spend half of episode 4 setting up the Loki and Sylvie relationship. But since episode 3 did happen, the entire episode could be dedicated to moving forward, to doing the beats, because we believe in these two characters' relationships and how they feel about one another. So I just wanted to get that out the way. Episode 4 was insane. It was insane. I mean, from the start to finish. First of all, I had made a video, but I deleted it because by the time I had made it, it was like, okay, look, the next episode's coming the next day. I don't know if I really want to talk about it. That's how I kind of miss the Marvel movies, because I could just make endless amount of videos, and it'd be like, I could just wait to put out my little prediction / theory videos weeks out, and because I know it's like, that's coming out in months from now, but it's, week to week, it's like, oh shit, it's coming out the next week. I only got a week to freaking come up with a theory. But I was correct in one of my theories. I predicted that Sylvie was a Loki who got picked up very early, which is why she doesn't act like Loki. Like it was a whole thing about, well, I wouldn't hit me like that, or how I'm not really how she would act, and how she would act about being called a Loki. It wasn't like she didn't recognize that it wasn't like that. It wasn't like an unfamiliar thing. It's like she was angry at being called a Loki. We find out she was taken at a very young age. No, they never tell us what variant, but I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's because she was a girl. And, Loki is traditionally a man, other than that little stint he spent as Lady Loki. So I'm gonna go on a limb and say that they're like, no, you're not supposed to be a girl. Like, you're supposed to be a male. I don't know what the fuck happened here. And and she says, I was born the goddess of mischief. Like, it's like, no, that wasn't supposed to happen. You were supposed to be born this way. Pick her ass up. So, all right, up the top, we got that out of the way, and I was like, I knew it. I did. I was like, I knew it. I knew that they had to get her early because otherwise she would have had more Loki tendencies, and she had grown up on Asgard. They showed Asgard. It looked the exact same as Thor, old Asgard. She had grown up on Asgard with the same parents and whatnot, and then she was just a woman and she got taken away at like near the same age Loki was in Avengers. She would have had a lot more Loki tendencies. She would have been a lot more Loki-like. It just would have been from a more effeminate position. Like, it would have been more provocative. Like, I at least I think, especially once, there's definitely a storyline about Loki, like a female Loki and Thor getting it on. I mean, because they're not really related. So, like, there's a lot of directions that could have gone if she was a woman. So, the gist of it is, she would have acted more like, traditional Loki. But she didn't. She was so far from, like, she's still a Loki in her tendencies, and a lot of her tendencies, but, like, her behavior, the way she acts and whatnot, it's so far removed from a Loki that it's like, okay, she couldn't have been raised around in Asgard, because there's no elegance to her. You know what I mean? Like, Loki, no matter what he's doing, there's this air of elegance to him. I think Tom Hiddleston carries Loki with an elegance. Like, he is killing you. You know what I mean? Like, I am killing you. Like, it always feels like a Shakespearean opera when Loki's around, where she is just straightforward, bash you in the face, just straightforward, just like raw, and in my mind I went, okay, there's definitely something different. She had to have gotten picked up early. So I'm glad I got that correct. Turns out, yes, the timekeepers are not real. Or aren't they? Well, they're sort of real, they're sort of not real, they're kind of, sort of, but not really. Turns out there are actual, like, three, beings, which the CGI and whatnot was actually pretty cool for them, beings that look like the timekeeper statues we've been seeing, except they're not real. They're animatronics. And it seems like Ravonna Renslayer might be in on it. Because as we find out, not only a long time ago was she the person who took Sylvie out of her timeline, not only is she the person who's basically, seemingly, been killing, who knows the secrets. Seemingly, she's been killing people, or pruning people who might know something. Later on in the episode, Mobius and Loki are having a little tit for tat. Mobius calls Loki an asshole and puts him in this cool cell. So they have their version of a holding cell is putting you in the worst moment, in one of your worst moments of your life, on loop. And of course, one of Loki's worst moments, which I heard is an actual moment from Norse mythology, is him cutting Lady Sif's hair, her finding him, punching him. What was it? Punching him, kneeing him in the nuts, and then punching him again. Yeah. And then she tells him, you will always be alone. Basically, you will always be alone. You will always be by yourself. You'll never be loved. You'll always be, that's what she basically told him. You'll always be alone. And, he's dealing with that. And, it really starts to hit him to heart because that's his fear. It's pretty laid to bear. And it's like, that's why I do all the things I do, because I don't want to be alone. Yeah, deep down, that's why he does the things he does. But him and Mobius have a heart-to-heart. Mobius starts to get a bit suspicious. He wants to go talk to the, I can't remember the Minuteman who was, shaking, who Sylvie got into her head early in the episode, episode 3. I can't remember that Minuteman's name off the top of my head, but Mobius wanted to talk to her, and they told her she was dead. And one of the shining lights of any TV movies, someone says they're dead and you don't get to see it, they're not really dead. Or at least for the most part. Unless it's that's sometimes we can kind of just take faith on it because it's a character that's not that important. So it's just why would they spend the time lying to me? But this character wasn't important. She was a smoking gun and she just happens to be dead. So that was weird. Also, the Minuteman who had been giving Loki a hard time. Turns out when Sylvie had jumped into her body for that short stint, she had unlocked memories. like, turns out, we found out last episode that all of these TVA agents are variants, and things kind of break down. Mobius tries to help Loki because Mobius realizes what's going on, and he realizes, holy shit, they kidnapped us. We're all variants from timelines, and Mobius gets pruned. Yes, Owen Wilson gets killed right in front of Loki. It was crazy. I was like, oh shit! It was maddening. Loki and Ravonna takes Loki and Sylvie to go see the timekeepers. Timekeepers are, talking, and they're in their chairs and they're talking down to them. Fight breaks out. They fight off Renslayer. They fight off the guards, and Sylvie cuts one of the timekeepers' heads off, only to be revealed that they are robots, cyborgs, placed there by someone else. Someone else. We don't know who. We don't know why. We don't know who's the one running it. Could it be Kang? It could be. I mean, that'd be nuts. I'm just like, oh man, do you do that? I don't know. Do you do that in the show? I mean, maybe. I definitely would give more incentive to go watch Disney Plus even more, but I just don't know. I can see them setting it up in a post-credit scene, but do you just outright put Kang in the fucking show? Or do you leave it ambiguous and then you make it about something else, and then by the end they're like, well, Kang was the actual person in control of all of this. Who knows? I don't, but I think it would be interesting. Also, it's kind of hinted. We don't know what, and I know a lot of people in the LGBTQ. I think LGBTQ. I don't know all the letters. I think it's LGBTQ or is it LGBTQ? I don't know, but a lot of the people in the communities were really happy, and I'm happy for them about the whole reveal that Loki was bisexual last week. Honestly, it wasn't a big deal to me, and like I said in my video, it wasn't a big deal to me because I already know that. Loki has been bisexual he's bisexual in the comics, he's bisexual in actual Norse mythology. Loki is a well-known bisexual. Hell, he's not bisexual, he fucks animals. He turns into animals and get fucked. Loki fucks everything, okay? So. But I digress. And one of the things I heard from that coming out was, well, either A, they better give him a boyfriend, even though he said he's into both men and women. Apparently it's like they have to go the extra mile. Either A, they have to give him a boyfriend, or B, he cannot be with Sylvie. And I already kind of see it. I haven't heard the loud noises, but I can see it. I see it on the horizon. Some people are really gonna be upset because it feels pretty abundant to me that the idea they're pushing is that Loki and Sylvie are so alone, and they have so much in common. Well, they're both Lokis, but they're so alone. I mean, honestly, she got kidnapped so young that they aren't really the same person. They really are different people. Cause she got taken so young. I think if she had gotten taken, like I said, later in life, near the Avengers, because who knows, the Avengers might have still played out the same way. It just would have been a woman instead of a man. Then it would have been a bit, I mean, granted, it is still a bit narcissistic that nothing that he literally said, that both of them literally said, I messed with a lot of men, I messed with a lot of women, and none of it was real. And then you talk to someone who's technically you, and you're like, I found true love. Who? Now, hear me out. It's me, but not really, but it's sort of me, but it's a woman me. But I mean, hey. That's just crazy. Would you fuck a female version of yourself? I just imagine a beautiful version of you as a female. Would you fuck you? I don't know. But Loki's answer to that seems to be yes. And I see a lot of people a little upset because they're like, okay, well, it's counterproductive. It's just hearsay. You put the queer thing out there, you put the queer baiting out there, and you're just gonna go with him being with a woman. And I can already see that kind of simmering. But to me, it just makes, for me, from a writing's perspective, it does make sense. I mean, like they said, there's so much in common. They're both lonely people. They're both so lonely. They're both searching for the same thing. And they made a connection. And we saw them connecting on that planet early in the 3rd episode. So it's just, I guess it's just going in that direction. Great to see Lady Sif back, though. I just wanted to harp on that before I wrap this up. Great to see her back. I hope she's going to be in either Guardians or at least Thor. I had this crazy idea, and I'm gonna just get this out right quick. I had this crazy idea for a Lady Sith Gamora spin-off series with them being bounty hunters, just going through the galaxy. Like, I had this idea that Sith was away from Asgard doing something for, like Loki sent her away because Loki knew she'd figure out who he was. And Loki like sent her on this crazy mission. By the time she got back, Ragnarok had happened, everything had been destroyed, and she didn't even have time to react. She got dusted away. So she like missed out on all the action, and like she was just out in space. She meets up with Gamora. They become like two badass chicks in the galaxy. I've been told that women don't like being called chicks, so two badass girls in the galaxy out there kicking ass, taking names. Gamora can kind of become that most dangerous woman in the world, Gamora. She hasn't really been that completely, and she's still a badass, but she hasn't really been that version. In the comics, Gamora's scary. Like she's like Black Widow in space. She's Black Widow in space. She's just even scarier than Black Widow because she's fucking super strong, super fast, and has all this alien technology. So she's even scarier than Black Widow, but she's basically Black Widow in space. Like, she's a dangerous woman, and like, you really don't get that across because the Guardians movies are more comedic and they can't really get too into the violence of it all. But I had this killer idea for a Gamora, Lady Sif, like, spin-off series or a movie where they're out in space just bounty hunting shit. I mean, it was just a crazy concept. Something that was just off the top of my head. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. I would give this episode 10. It's the first 10 I'd give. First 10 episodes they pumped out. It's the best episode bar none. It's one of the best episodes on Marvel television, period. Netflix, Hulu, I don't care. It's some of the best ever. This episode will stand the test. I can't wait to see the next week's episode. I'm chomping at the bit. Oh, sorry. Minor thing. Post-credit scene, bomb. Got to see more Loki's, Hugh Grant, and a classic Loki costume, and I mean classic. I'm talking old Avengers issue 1 Loki with the gold, with the helmet, with the horns come up like here, like old school. And I can't wait. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.